Morning, everyone. We're going to do a list review for my upcoming tournament. So this tournament is in 2 weeks, 5 games in person, 24 people. One thing that's kind of cool is, especially on some of these smaller ones around me, live ones, even the last one I went to, is sometimes they're only like 20 to 40 people, but you know, there are a lot of top players here. It's actually a very, I would say, skewed field where there's a lot of the top players, and there's like other maybe half, maybe a third or so is not, and so you'll see a lot of I don't know. There could be some skew results, but there's a lot of the best USA players that aren't from the West Coast in this particular event. In fact, other than everybody on the ETC team, including coaches, captains, is playing in this event except for one player who's running the event. So if he wasn't running it, the entire ETC USA staff, you could say, would be in this event. That being said, I will do a list review. I was going to try to maybe do it with somebody else, but the timing is just with the baby and stuff is just not working out. And so one thing I'll say about this list review, it'll be semi-tilted towards my own personal view. Being that I'm in the tournament, I tend to look at lists in the tournament from like how I view them against me per se. It's not always like neutral. So sometimes I might not like something, maybe because it's not as good versus me. Well, I kind of like it more if it's good versus not good versus me, right? Or I dislike something more because it just so happens to be annoying for me. So I did put my list first so that you would kind of get an idea of what I'm bringing and why I think some of the things I think. For a maybe more, I'll say, neutral list review with actual first round matchups, I believe Green Dragon Gaming will be posting that tonight. Pairings are not out as of this video, so which is good. I actually don't want to do like a matchup talk. I just want to go through the 24 list real quick and kind of give my high level feedback. So my list is here. Nothing too shocking. I shouldn't be. Similar to my New Year's New Points Online list, I had these both things. I put a trophy rack on this guy and dropped Lucky Charm because I didn't have points, but I think trophy rack is too important. I failed too many March checks to not take it, and obviously when killing champions, getting res is nice. I traded the Master Sorcerer for a Adept on foot on Steed with a Binding Scroll and Hero's Heart. I wanted a one-up save hero with... I liked the movement spell. Having Touch the Reaper sure is great once in a while, but the way I play, I don't need 7 spells. I didn't like him like needing to be protected. He basically made the barbs useless. He would die half the time. He was a target. At least this guy, he provides some more stability. Not stability. That's a stupid word. He's kind of like the chariot guy, except he's on a horse. And I couldn't fit the chariot guy because of hero points. So here it is. I kind of like that he's faster than the chariot guy when it comes to marching, because the whole army is fast in that case. There's no like chariot speed, other than maybe the guys on foot. So interesting. Evo. I don't need the armor save spell as much in this list. Of course, it's not bad on warriors and barb horsemen and even the herald, but I don't have like a chosen knight unit. I don't have a great weapon or greed knight unit where even the base spell is pretty good. So I went with evocation here because it's just nice. My core, I have a chaff. I have the barb horseman as a bunker, 10 warriors, 16 barbs. So obviously you can see I'm taking envy. I'm trying that out. I mean, I have evocation. I have probably the best spell in the game when it comes to spectral blades with lethals, and so I did kind of tilt my core a little bit to potentially take advantage of that. If you hit somebody with 10 envy warriors with paired weapons, if you're 5x2, which you could be 7 by with 3 in the back, 5x2 is still 15, 16, 21 attacks, offensive 6, rerolling ones to hit with lethals and rerolling the wound, right? That can just devastate a unit. So same with the barbarians. They don't need a bunker anymore. They're cheap scoring. They have 2 strength, 4 AP 0 each, even without the spell. But with the spell, you never know. You might get some lethals through, and they can actually threaten, things that they're holding up. Warhounds. I guess the Barb Horseman probably looked the weirdest. It's a large Barb Horseman unit. I almost wanted it to be 15. I didn't have the points because I wanted Stalker Standard. I just put gray weapons. It's whatever. I didn't need to pay for all the fancy upgrades and stuff. They're really just a bunker for the characters if needed, especially if I'm against, say, alchemy magic. It's nice to have them separated from the knights because it's less likely to get down real quick to where they can hit my characters. Stalker Standard, I talked about in the last video why I like Stalker Standard, and I think this will help. Again, I can push up into a runes with the Barb Horseman and my characters, and I can charge out without taking stupid DTs. It just gives me to put there. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's great. It's 339 points. It's a bunker for characters if needed. It's scoring. It is what it is. And then we have 7 Knights, Lance. They're not marked because the character. I want my Lord to be able to go in it. 5 Flares for Chaff. The 2 Elders always take. Nothing super crazy here. But it's aggressive, and it's what I do. All right, so let's go through the list. So we have Ben Mitchell's Empire. Again, there's 23 other lists. I'm not going to sit here for 3 hours to talk about every single one, especially because I know a lot about my own list. I don't have a ton of commentary on everybody's list on everything. Let's just see what Ben is taking. So he's taking a Cosmo Mage again. He had a Div Master for a while. So he kept the Div Adept. I do like Div. I think it has really good buffs, and the attribute is really nice. I do like Cosmo in this list a little better, probably generally speaking, just because I like the heal of the tank, +1 to hit on some of the shooting. I believe Ben, he used to run more of the Conrad style build, and I've been seeing people move away from it. I don't know if it's because Inquisitors went up in points or what has changed exactly. I haven't actually looked real closely at the Empire book per se in a while. It's not my favorite book. That being said, he does have a Griffin character. I really do like this Griffin character. I think it's 4 strength 5 up top. It's 1 up, 5 up versus non-magical. It's just, and then Award Saber Flaming, which is always nice on a nice. And the Griffin's strength 6 or something, right? It's pretty ridiculous. It's nice to just have a piece. Even in a shooty infantry army, it kind of helps you deflect units that are coming at you, whether you're redirecting them or charging them. Just having some far charger sitting in the back. He has some marshals, a big ass unit, a Stalker Standard. This is something I've talked about with him. I like it. I do like, even in these infantry heavy armies, having a Stalker Standard on a unit, because a lot of times there's a woods, a river or lake, or a ruins in your deployment zone or near it. And if you have a battle line where you need to kind of work together when it comes to countercharging and detachment rules and stuff like that, having a unit that can sit in it is really big, especially if it's one of your main fighting units and you're not losing steadfast for being in there. 20 infantry support, a handgun unit, crossbow unit, Imperial Guard unit with great weapon, chaff, little shooting, a little bit of everything, cannon, steam tank, of course, 5 guns. Let's be fair. It's pretty slow, right? It's one guy who's fast. There's no knights. There's no mounted characters. It can be really difficult to break through with all the countercharge rules and a lot of shooting. Obviously not my style of Warhammer, but that's fine because it's not me playing it. I feel for Empire sometimes because I feel like there's a lot of cool tricks with all the detachments and stuff. But sometimes the army just folds if you deploy it badly or don't have a good plan. So we'll see if his plans hold up, because unlike my army, if I deploy it slightly badly, I just move 16 inches in a different direction. So my army, we'll say, requires a little bit more how to attack and knowing how to do that. In this army, I feel like if you don't deploy it right, you might just lose instantly to some armies. But I like it. I'm curious to see how it does. It's tough to break through. It's one of my more scared ones to play against, if I had to say, just because it's one of the only ones with 2 cannons. The steam tanks are always annoying, but it kind of has that... There's kind of that feeling like if you make it there, you can kind of break through a lot of it. It's not like it has the fighty heroes that the other one had. I mean, the Great Weapon Imperial Guard are always not easy to get through, but again, most of these units aren't like sweepingly killing elders and stuff like that. You have to make sure they put wounds on it beforehand. Owen. So I played Owen at the last tournament, and he had ogres there. He made them even more blocky. I mean, he didn't have this before, and he didn't have the Great Khan. And he had 2 Yetis, a cannon, a hunter, and 4 Tuskers. And so I feel like he's just taken all that and put it into basically one unit and got a Great Khan. I mean, it's a list that it's 4 blocks and 3 chaff and for 3 heroes. He can make a huge bunker with Liger's Tongue, a D3 wound hero, and he has Cult Leader. So his characters are all pretty much armored up, which is not something you always see in Ogres. You don't always see, he paid a decent amount of points to make everybody like tanky, which is fine in this type of list. Like if you're gonna have I don't know where he's gonna put his characters personally. It can't be the Merc Vets because they have Swift Stride. He would basically lose that ability if he put any characters in it. I'm guessing the Bruisers or the Tribesmen. It might be the Tribesmen just to be, I don't know where he's going to be. It's going to be the Bruisers or the Tribesmen, I'm guessing. And then he has one shooting unit. Again, as a player against him, this list is probably more and easier for me than the last list because there's no cannon, there's no hunter. Even the Rhinox were like a supercharged threat range that were a pain in the ass to get through. And not saying that I easily beat this list, but just as from a pure agency perspective, like other than the pistol unit, like what is it? I mean, you can't catch me if I don't want you to, right? It's just maybe you can force it. It might crush some people. I'm curious how this does. I feel like good players might tear it apart while shitty players might lose. And maybe it's just as enough beef. It might just be enough beef. I mean, it's a lot of strong units and characters. It just looks so fucking boring. I'll probably say that a lot. I think there's a lot of weird lists here. Dwarf, I'm not going to talk about. I mean, what 3 war machines, a bunch of units. I mean, what's it going to do? It's going to sit in the corner, or it's going to lose probably. It doesn't have a lot of shooting. And a grudge, I don't know. It's Dwarves. I feel like I've met him before. He's a nice guy if I remember who it is, but it's Dwarves. They don't have any. I don't see any vanguards. I don't see anything to make the unit. It's 4 slow units and 3 war machines. I mean, this is more likely a tournament killer than it is a tournament winner. And so what I mean by that is this is more likely to ruin somebody's chance of winning the event than it is to actually win the event itself, just because it can be hard to get through and stuff like that. I hate Dwarves. And there's 3 Dwarves here, and I'm so upset. They're all boring. Caps. So he's playing Ogres in this event, which he was playing ID a lot before. So he's taking that Great Khan as well and a Shamanism, so he's going a little cheaper on character, at least upgrades. He didn't take like Liger's Tongue and stuff. A Mammoth Hunter, which is nice. I like hunters. 2 big blocks, Tuskers, so a little more fighty. A lot more fighty. A couple more single models and stuff than the Owen list. It's still, I mean, I like this kind of style a little bit more. I like a little bit more speed, a little bit more units, a little bit more, let's cut some fat and get some more cool things. Even 2 Yetis I kind of like. As if you think of this, could be 3 dogs. 2 Yetis I think are an interesting chaff piece / not anti-chaff, but I think chaff that has some like strong attacks and isn't easy to one-shot has a lot of value, and I think Yetis do provide that. And of course vanguarding and stuff, if somebody positions bad, he has 2 strong vanguarders. So I like his list. I don't know how it'll do in maybe the meta that we're in, but Caps is good with this kind of stuff, single model, so I think, it fits his style. It probably could use a cannon in some instances just to give some threat, but, he's going balls deep. Why not? Same as me. Mince, I wasn't sure if Mince was going to take 2 Shrieking Horrors because of me. because he knows that I play single models like I do, and I'm glad he didn't. My one theory is, and this could be bullshit, I'm going to say it anyway, but my theory is that 2 Shrieking Horse is very good against me, but if anybody else is even remotely trying to counter single models, they also counter horrors in the same instance, and even better usually. Like cannons have clipped wings, and if you take like Div, it's so much nastier than versus like an Elder. Like Div is fine, but like it just, you know, Fate's Judgment, is that the name? Whatever that spell is. The D3 wound one is just so much better against a horror than it is an Elder. So I feel like there's a little bit of like like if he tries to tech towards me, he's making himself much weaker versus the other armies. So he's doing I guess that guy's Fighty Vampire Double Master, which he's done before. 1 coach. It's crazy how cheap some of these units are. Like this feels like a really cheap unit. And then the 31 banner. I mean, that's for shield, yeah. It's more fighty than things. I'm curious how it does. This guy's kind of cool because I believe Unbreakable Will gives Stubborn. Not just to... Basically, I think it's anyone fighting in the same fight, he can choose one. So even if... I'll give you an example. If the Vampire's unit, let's just say he's in the Barrow Knights, is fighting, he could give Stubborn to, I don't know, the Wing Reapers who are fighting as well. So if he's worried about losing by 2 or 3, or he needs to make I think it's probably more. I mean, of course, it's for combat res purposes, but sometimes it's even nice for reform checks just to make sure that this one unit is not going to, it's on a rerollable 8 or 9 instead of whatever minus the leadership is. So. Yeah, Stubborn's pretty cool, even on himself. Like as a blocker type character, right? He's now -1. He's half because he's stubborn, and he's -1 because of the BSB. So you have to beat him by a lot to crumble him. And then it's pretty good magic. Obviously, 2 Master Mages. I don't know how good this guy is on foot. I guess he can True Thirst back the Barrel Guard, which is kind of cool. He's a lot of points. Jesus. All right. I don't know how good that is. We'll see. It's different. That's good. It's less scary for me than 2 horrors, but it still has damage dealers and 2 Master Mages, so you can never count that out for sure. Joe's Dark Elves. So I like Evo. I never always understand Destiny's Call unless you're gonna fight with them. I guess I don't know. I would put him in the raiding party and just never go. It doesn't matter. I'm not gonna bitch about having Destiny's Call. A Seal Republic guy on foot, Crystal Ball, and then Exarch Battle Standard Bearer with the Bound spell, and an Alchemy guy. Okay. So he has 7 spells, 1 being a Bound. Oh, because he doesn't take. He's not taking Warlocks. Okay. So he has 4 scoring at least still. You can't really complain too much about the stuff down here. I guess the weird part is, honestly, if you take away, if this just becomes something normal, it's kind of a normal Dark Elf list. Maybe you don't see 2 Obsidian Guard. I tend to see Warlocks instead. I'm curious how they do. I'm not sure how they'll do because it's like this weird light troop skirmishing, but then everything else is not light troop skirmishing. So like all his main stuff is still slow. But I like Evo. You can't go wrong with. I don't know why like him and his group just refuse to buy standards on anything. Like literally nothing. Like you'll see this in 2 of the other lists that it's their group. They will refuse to spend 10 points on a standard, and they'll buy other things. Which is whatever. It's just funny to me. I don't know. It's Dark Elves. I like Warlocks and like fighty heroes on horses better personally. But until Gorgons go up 100 points, they'll always be powerful and can kill things. The other Dread Elf list I like a little more, which we'll get to. Jeremy Schweitzer, ETC captain. I'm not gonna. What he takes the girl on the thing. I don't even know enough about this list to comment on it. Yeah, I just know who's playing it, and which automatically makes me less scared of it. It actually probably has some pieces that will annoy me more than some of the other ones, but you just can't be scared if you're playing Jeremy. You just got to believe you're going to kill him. I mean, how hard can it be? I don't even know what these items do. I think this is reroll against a character. This is like a scream. This is he gets a 4 forward. I don't know. Maybe I'll just kill him. I don't know what commandment does. Is that where it gives the weapon skill? I'm not gonna look it up. If I have to play him, I'll look it up beforehand. But I mean, if we're not playing round 1, we're probably not playing since he's going straight down to the bottom most likely. But Jeremy, I love you. I hope you kill some things with that girl. Bergie. So Bergie's going. So he took a list that was kind of slow. Well, it wasn't that slow. Kind of blocky, kind of defensive, kind of like hard to get through. And he said, I'm going to make it even more slow and more shooty. And so he used to have like 4 Ring Reapers and 6 snakes. And now he's like, fuck it. Shabdis and a Dread Sphinx and Chariot and catapults. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll label this under. I believe Bergie will do well with it. I believe Bergie will like this. I think it just looks miserable to play, right? With, not just against, with. But he has a good magic phase. He has a really tough skeleton unit to get through. I mean, Ushab. It's the problem is when you get there, it's not the. He has like a block of skeletons and then like a Dread Sphinx and Ushab. Like, I'm worried about people making it to him. So it's a good test. I'm genuinely curious about this one. I'm curious if this list played like something like Owen's Ogres, where it's just like 3 huge blocks, and it's like, can this list stop those 3 huge blocks? And the answer is, I don't know. I hope they play. That'd be fun. Okay, Bergie, we'll see what you got. I lean towards on the snakes and stuff, but he's trying something different, and it actually does. It probably scares like VS and stuff more than me, because the catapults have like 6x6 with panic checks, and elves kind of don't like it, and mixed with the -1 to resilience and stuff can be really annoying mixed with the chariot. So I'm sure it has some uses. And again, I always think of it from my own perspective, where something is scarier. James Smith. So he has a guy on a Monster's Reverend, a guy on a steed. It's low magic, right? Like, it's Adept Alchemy. You could be Adept Alchemy. No, this guy's Apprentice. So, okay, I'm just going to get this right. He has a Adept Occultism, Apprentice Occultism, which is, I mean, maybe he's taking heal anyway. An Alchemy Adept with Heirloom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spells? Alright, that's not bad. That's a pretty good amount of spells. I don't this core seems weak. I mean, it's VC, right? It's whatever. It's just some shit. I don't know. I don't like reviewing VC lists because they play so weird, and I don't know enough of them. It's like, it always looks like kind of like, all right. And then they die, and then we hear complaints on the forums about it. But James is a good guy. I'm sure he thought of something. This is a very expensive man. Does he fight well? Yeah. He is duelist, Trinity Gem, Talisman. Yeah. I feel like this this build isn't ideal, but we can hunt monsters. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's cool. Keith's, so we have VS. Oh, you did take the Doomblade. I don't know if this is. I think this can blow up portals or something. Got assassins. Why are they so cheap? I feel like they're super cheap. I thought they were like 150. So a lot of everything's on foot. Big ass block. 2 big blocks. Some without number guys. So he does have tunnel in it. I think he can blow up tunnels. He can blow up tunnels, and his slaves can come back. So he's not actually spending that many points for the tunnel stuff, but he gets use out of it. And then he just took 3 Doomspark devices, which really should be more points in my opinion. That's probably a big miss in the update, where they got like 10 points more, and then they went down 5 points, and they get like boosted Hand of Heaven. I don't know enough about new VS to really make much commentary other than I think these are really good. And the weird part about like new KOE and VS is they're the two books I think ID is locked in that are still in flux. So when it comes to like ETC perspective, at least my own, like my book isn't changing anymore. So I'm which I like, because I'm pretty much set with what here's the tools I have. Let's see what we can make work. These are going to be ever changing, so it's not the fastest list, right? Because these aren't fast, but it's two big blocks that are very hard to kill. And then some chaffs and stuff, and these are pretty cool shooting, I guess. This is like battle focus, right? It's an interesting band to take on them. Why would you take that on them? I don't know. It's battle focus, which I guess might be make them fight better. And then the assassins are pretty annoying when they pop up in their units. So again, I don't know I'm curious. It probably hangs a lot on the Doomspark devices doing shit. I'll be curious if it does or if it doesn't. He run about okay. Map of the Deep. So one thing like moves portals. One thing blows them up. I think this blows them up, and I think this one moves them. So I think you can move the tunnel marker and blow it up. And having, the Secrets of Doomblade guy is just so cheap for the threat he brings. We'll see how it does. I'm curious. Like I said, the new VS has just been changing and ever changing, and we'll see, what happens in the next iteration. Taras, big boy. That's a manly. There we go. Omen on throne. Travis drops Omen on throne, and Kurdistan got them both in there. 4 scoring, 1 chaff, 2 chaff, a Titan Slayer, and the Veil Serpents. They're super cheap. 6. I probably like. If you, this is gonna sound mean. If you took the name off, I'd probably say that this list could do really well. But I don't have super high hopes for him. It's a cool list though. I like the little bit of everything and the 2 big manly units right here. I like Centipede Legs a lot. I don't know how many points it is now. It's like 25 or something. I mean, they're expensive as shit, right? They're not exactly the most durable of. I would say the biggest criticism I have in this one is like his magic phase. Like, I feel like if these were 3 Veil Serpents with a Conclave, it would actually be a better army because, yes, you lose the 6 Veil Serpents, which who gives a fuck, but like the spells they have, I think are really nice and maybe combo decently with this. Like you could almost, yeah. And you can even go like instead of div here, this one could be div, this one could be witchcraft, and then the Veil Serpents have like smite and one of the witchcraft spells or something. So it's a cool list. I don't maybe it's not as good as I was talking about, but it's cool. It has a little bit of everything. It has the scoring. Another dwarf list. I mean, I don't know. What do you want me to say? It's dwarves. It has some Vanguard and some Relentless, so it does have some more cooler stuff it can do. At least it's not super shooty. Like it has a crossbow unit. It has an ambusher. It's more cool than the other one. 4 Jordans are kind of cool with their 2+ hit always, and then he has a couple war machines. Nothing too crazy, nothing too expensive. He's not spending 800 points on war machines or anything crazy. I mean, it's dwarves. I guess it's cool from a certain perspective, and then it's dwarves. But good job, Kelly. Finish all your games. That's the goal, man. Finish all your games. With this list, you should be able to. You should be pretty efficient. Shouldn't be too hard to play. Some of the units. It doesn't have too many, and they're slow. Another dwarf. Yeah. I mean, this is Jeff's dwarf list. Sans adding a couple, changing one thing. It probably because the points changed. Fighty King on foot. Shut down Magic Runesmith. A Thane. I guess he had to drop a Rune of Lightning because he can't take it anymore and add a Breath. He has 2 Runes of Readiness, which is like that reform when you get charged shit, which is pretty cool. I don't know why he has 2 personally, but I guess that's kind of cool. I don't know. 3 units. And then some shit here. It does what it always does. Hopes people run at it. If people avoid it, they usually win. It's Dwarves. Boring. KOE. I don't know if I like this build of this. I mean, it's cheap. It's 570. But why is it? It just feels weird, doesn't it? Is it me? Am I the only one that forbearance is when you're you're distracting in the second round. So it actually has some really nice synergy in that way. If you charge in and you survive, now your strength 6 all the time because of divine judgment, and then you get the advantage of being distracting, so you're much harder to kill. So like verse non-magical like basic shit, it's super grindy, right? Because he's what, a 5 up, 4 up. He's a 2 up save. He's like a 2-5 up for heavy armor, shield, ghostly guard. So he's a 2 up, 5 up. No, he doesn't have anything special, right? Paladin doesn't give him. He's not sainted. So he's 2 up with the whatever the normal ward save is for Equitaine Lords. So it's 5 up, depending on Orison and stuff like that. And then he has Divine. Does Paladin give anything else but Divine? I think it gives you Honesty, which is like saves versus magical. I guess versus magical he's a 5 up, potential 4 up. I mean, he's garbage if he's charged, right? Like, if you charge him and you are like a magic wielding character, he's awful, right? Is it just, right? He's awful. He's like 4 strength 4, and he doesn't even get a good save versus you. I mean, he's not that many points. I don't know. It just doesn't sit with me, that build. Maybe they know something I don't. I got the BSB on foot with Tristan's Resolve, Bastard Sword, Mithril. Justice is, I think, when things take a wound, you get extra attacks. He destroys magic items at least. That's pretty cool. A Div General on foot. A Shamanism guy on horse. A Folk Hero. Oh, he has Witchcraft. Interesting. A big unit of low levies. 3 units of bows. Again, for some reason, standard bearers on knights are just not a thing here. I don't understand this list completely. I don't get no healing. It just feels like no healing is just like, just sucks, right? Master Div. I don't mind Div, but being on it feels weird being on foot, right? It feels weird that his leadership 7 general. Having a leadership 7 general on foot does not bode well. And the BSB's on foot, right? Yeah. Is it worrisome that the knights aren't always going to be in range potentially? It just feels. I was talking to someone about this, and it got the feel that like they're like, these are the things that are really undercosted in the book, and we're going to take them, a bunch of them, and then it's like, but we're not going to make it work together as well as it could. I don't know. I don't really like this list from a KOE perspective. It's probably powerful enough because it's KOE, but it just, I don't know. It could be. I mean, it might just beat me. Who knows? It's still a Div Master. It still has 18 questing knights, right? So I'm not going to sit here and be like, I'm going to crush it. It's not the scariest KOE list I've ever seen. Travis's demons. Let's see. So he put a Kurdistan instead of the, what's his name? Instead of the throne. He took these 2 guys. I like these Burning Wheel guys. Travis's games will hinge on him not being an idiot with the wheels and getting him killed in 2 turns. When you go into a Travis game, sometimes the wheels are killing things, and sometimes they're dead turn 1 because he just put them up there and didn't know what to do. Besides that, this is kind of that I talked about. He has both Veil Serpent, so his magic, he has a lot of good buffs and stuff, and it's like kind of spread out across different people. His scoring's kind of weak if you really want to like complain about something. It's just these 3 units, but we'll see how it does. He was bitching about the div, but there's 7 div mages. 1 is him, who's an apprentice, and then 4 of them are adepts and 2 are masters, and he'll survive. It could do well. I'm curious. He feels like I think the matchups in this tournament aren't as good as it could be Probably because of like a lot of shooting and stuff like that. Another, I mean, Phil, the reason this one's going to look like the other one is because they're teammates or club mates, and so they take almost the same shit, it seems like, except he has a fightier Equitaine Lord who's like a million more points. I guess my big complaint kind of goes back to this as well, right? You have these two questing units that have very little heal. And none, really. I mean, yes, if you get Oaken thrown off and get your Druidism spell off, sure. And then you have a general who's sitting on foot in the back, who's leadership 7. And a BSB on foot in the back. So, I guess, and sure, he has 90 archers, so that could do something. It just feels like disjointed, like, maybe he's going to sit in the corner and just shoot people. Which would be, I'm sure, exciting for him. I don't like the list that much. I think it has some good pieces to it. It's still KOE, like I said with the other list. Neither list is that like impressive to me on as for what I thought you could do with KOE. For some reason, again, standards, rending banners and stuff they just cut it all for what? I don't know what they're getting for it. What are they getting? I don't know. I don't even like this guy's build. The problem with this guy is you charge him and he just is garbage, right? If he ever gets he's garbage. He's like 5 strength, 4 attacks with divine. Right? Honor is the +2. Like he does nothing if you charge him. He's like AP1 for 800 points, like a guy that can absolutely never get charged or he dies. Right? He's bad if he gets. Am I missing something? No, right? Sainted doesn't give you +1 strength, so he has 5 attacks. He's always +1 to hit. Great. I don't know. I like talking shit to Phil anyway, so maybe I'm either gonna listen. He's either gonna get crushed and I'm gonna look like a genius, or he's gonna do well and I'm gonna just have to take it like a man. Get him, Phil. That's what I say. Brett Rob Ogres. Oh, we're almost done, guys. We're almost done. I gotta get going. All right. Here we go. 3 slave giants. No dogs. Yeti chaff. Very little shooting. Just 3 guys with pistols. Probably more. It is kind of a weird combination. Like if you're gonna take anything and your army doesn't shoot at all, besides this unit, he has 6 pistol shots. So I'm not sure. I mean, I guess it's like paired weapons, right? If you have the points, just take the pistol shots because you get extra attacks anyway. I don't really get the mag resist pistol thing unless it's like his bunker. Is it his bunker? No, he's not going to put it in 3 guys. Is he? No. I don't really get that setup. Mag resist plate armor. Like, why wouldn't you like Swift and Vanguard or something? I don't know. I would make him more fighty, but that's here nor there. That's one little unit. 3 scoring. 2 big bruiser units. I mean, this is a man who knows what he wants. He's taken 1,400 points in core in an army that only has to take 1,100 points in core. So you already know he means business. I mean, slave giants with great weapons are no joke. No fuss. I mean, his chaff is even fighty. And then he takes a souped-up shamanism guy and a Grey Khan and another Khan, even who has paired weapons. You don't see that very often. Paired weapons, super nice. He doesn't take the D3 wound thing. I think that would have been... I get why people take Blessed Inscriptions. Divine and Reroll to Wound naturally is pretty nice. It just feels like the D3 wound solves a lot of issues that Ogres might have with certain characters, and I don't know if this guy solves it. But it's fighty, it's shamanism. Every Ogre list is fighty and shamanism. No cannons, very little shooting between the 3. I mean, I think it's, 1 unit of 6 Merc Vets, and then this, and then Caps is like a hunter. And then it's just like big blocks and giants and characters. So they all have great cons too. You don't see that. There's only 1 hunter in 3 Ogres lists. Crazy world we live in right now. Arash, I don't know why he messed with the build of the Griffin and put like Alchemist Alloy on him and then took off the +2 armor versus, I guess, was it points? I don't know. This build's a little weird, but I mean the Prince guy is still super nasty. I do think the -2 offense, making you offense 7. It's 7, right? I think it's 7. So you're going down to 5. It's kind of annoying because you go from hitting a lot of characters on 2s to hitting them on 3s. And I don't think that is... I don't know if that's worth it. I mean, it's still a really good model. His only magic is the High Prince, which I think does... which is fine. I think it's a pretty... I don't know how good the magic phase is. We're going to see, right? He still does the Sea Guard. There's not many of them. But it still is a fighty character. He has a... It's a little more block. I mean, it's like the old Furion list, and then they just dropped a Phoenix and then added some more Line Guard and some other stuff, right? And I mean, the core changed a little bit. It used to be Sea Guard. No, he bumped the spears up. So he like dropped Sea Guard to get more spears. And then he changed the heroes around. I mean, it's still it's still magic and shooty. And I still really like the Nova guy. I think he's such a game changer in the matchup perspective that it's hard not to take him. But you can definitely feel the power has gone a little bit from this list. Because, you know, it pretty much lost a whole Phoenix. Plus, you know, and then sure, the Line Guards were smaller before. But losing the other flyer is really big. Brian Hulley, great guy. He might win Best Sports just for taking this list because it just looks not good. A little bit of everything. I wonder if he's taking it as his... He has a really cool halfling army. I wonder if he's using them or if he's painting something new. He's a great painter. I don't have much to say because he's taking things I don't even know. I mean, it's very clearly he's just like, I have models that I like and I'm going to take things that I like. I mean, it's a Forest Prince on foot. I mean, I don't know, man. If he was like an all-star player, I might think there's some weird thing he's trying to do that's really good. But he's just a good dude playing a list. And it's not horrible, right? He still has 6 good spells. He has a fighty Forest Ranger unit. He has a Thicket Beast unit with a BSB that's hard to kill. He has Blade Dancers can do stuff. He has Chaff. He has a Treeman. You know, it does have this little... It's just not... Like, when you see this and you don't see, like, super fast killy lords and you don't see a lot of shooting or, like, massive amounts of trees, like, it's only one Treeman, you kind of sit there and go, all right, this doesn't seem as bad as it could be. But hey, he might win some games with it. It looks fun to play against, and I'm sure he'll have fun, and he's a nice guy. So that's... I wouldn't be shocked if he won some games, but it's... On paper, it doesn't look that scary. At least it's not obnoxious. Slottle's Dark Elf. So this is more the Dark Elf list I would play myself. Not exactly. I like Evo better, but he has Cosmo with 2 Binding Scrolls. Definitely hard on that. Magic Defense, a good fighty general. Can't go wrong. 2 up, 1 up, 4 up in shooting, 2 up, 4 up in combat with great weapon. And in Cosmo I do like Evo better, but you can still heal this guy. A BSB on foot. Again, I probably would take it on horse. He threw an assassin in. 33 spears. 9 Shadow Riders. I'd say his 4 scoring units, so that's good. And then, a little bit of everything. 1 Black Cloak, 1 other Chaff, a small unit for panic and scoring, Knights for some counter charge, Gorgons still cheap, a big Acolyte unit for the character. Yeah, I would probably make little changes for my own personal style of Dark Elves, but this is the kind of Dark Elves I like. Still a lot of shooting, not too heavily invested. I don't really like the bolt thrower batteries things. I know they're not bad for some matchups. I know they're not bad if you want to kind of sit back and shoot people, but I prefer to go at people a little more. So this is more my style. So I like this Dark Elf list. We'll see how it does in this environment. There's a lot of less combat armies. I mean, I was talking about shooting armies because of Travis, but there's not actually as many. When you go back, I mean, there's dwarves, and there's a 2 KOE that just have bows, and maybe that's why the KOE took 90 bows just to mess with elves and stuff like that, and demons. So maybe it'll work in that case. But yeah, I like this list. We'll see how it does. I do this. It's an orc list. It's an orc list with 3 units, 2 chaff. 2 catapults. I don't even know how he filled up his points with just this stuff. Oh, they're just really expensive. Okay. They're just big-ass units. Okay. And then he has 2 chariots, right? There's a board chariot character. I don't know what to say. It doesn't seem that good of a list. It's slow. It doesn't have that much range. I mean, it's a shamanism mastery and 2 catapults. Maybe it'd be hard to break through. He's a nice guy. It's like Brian Hulley. It's like I don't know. It doesn't have like a lot of the annoying things orcs can have, like scary wise, like giants and some of the cheaper single models and stuff like that. But yeah, it's cool. Whatever. If he likes it, it's just not my cup of tea. Ivo, the guy doesn't give a fuck. Guy wanted the shortest list on the tournament. I mean, this isn't too far off. I think something I talked about once when the new book came out, which was with this double herald, double chosen knight block. The only difference would be this could be 2 naked Helmaws. If you just dropped like the sloth on this, and then basically you could just turn this. If you drop this sloth, this would like slot exactly into 2 naked Helmaws if your core was perfectly min. Yeah. I mean, this is cool-ish. I mean, Herald's is always going to do work, and you can't complain about another Elder. It's beefy. If I had to complain about something, it's that he didn't take a damn musician on this knight unit. Like, this is a case where I would take a musician over standard, for sure. Like, it's just crazy that there's no musician on this unit. I know if you're listening to this, I don't know what you were thinking, in that case. But besides that, it's cool. I mean, it's super, super tight. I don't know what else to say about it. It's 3 units and 2 health. It's like 3 single models and 3 units. It'll be tough to break through. It might go get people. In this meta of just beef, it might do really well, or it might just not have enough wounds to survive. I'm not sure. It would be cooler if this was a 2 Helmals, because I think it gives you some play with like portaling around. I mean, the Ask the Elder is pretty good, but 2 Helmals is still 2 monsters that can do some annoying stuff, and it gives like your warriors could lose Relentless and be like Zealots, and they could teleport. So I think that's how I would play the list personally if I did that style. But every time I make that list, I always am like, oh, I can drop 1 Herald for like better magic and a Chaos Lord who does stuff, and kind of evolves into like, instead of spamming like 2 things, like 2 Heralds, 2 Chosen, 2 Mauls, you kind of start diversifying and then get back to a normal list. We'll see. This is a man list. Not messing around. Billy Smith, Demons. Billy Smith, again, we'll put him on the list of nice guys. He knows it. He's not scoring a ton of points, I don't think. Not with this list either. So he's a pulpit? Okay, let me actually look at what he's taking. He's taking a pulpit. He's taking a deceiver. A Succubi, a Lemurs, a Lemur, 6 Clawed Fiends, 3 Hoarders, 2 Hope Harvesters. So he has... Okay, and then... I don't understand. Okay, I'm not even going to talk about this list. Do you guys think it'll work? Oh, he's a champ on one of the Eidolons. That's cool, at least. His magic's a little better. He has 6 spells, right? 6 spells. This'll work. He's a good bit of shooting, right? 2 Hope Harvesters. I don't know. I'll take this back into the... If the nameplates were off, I'd be like, this is interesting, and maybe it'll work. And you put the nameplate back on, and Billy's just a good guy looking to have some fun with demons, and that's a weird list. We're going to see it. With Sorcerer Antenna, that's just a channel, right? Yeah, that's a channel. It would be called something. Mark of the Eternal Champions, the spell. Okay, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's all I got to say. Some interesting lists. You kind of heard my thing. I could win. I don't feel inherently bad when looking at the armies. There's some really cool. There's some interesting ones out there. There's some that could shoot me off potentially, but there's nothing that I think is like, oh my god, I'm going to just instantly lose if I play it. I would say overall, I thought the lists were worse than I thought they'd be. Or not as refined in some of the instances. But I could be wrong. It's been, the new stuff just dropped. We've only really had the one online tournament, and the second update came in afterwards. So this is the first big in-person one I've been to since a lot of the changes. So we're going to see. We're going to see. Maybe I get blown off the board. Or I just die. People could be saying the same shit for me, but, I'm going balls deep with my stuff. And it's going to be a good time. I at least think most of the lists are fighty, so that'll be more fun. And I like that. All right. Thanks for listening.